Welcome to Mentor Mindset, the podcast where experience meets ambition and mentorship fuels momentum. I'm Mike Longo.
And I'm Stacey Adams. We're here to share real stories, honest lessons, and practical strategies that helped us grow from unsure rookies to confident professionals.
Whether you're just getting started in the business or an experienced producer looking for some new tools, our goal is to get you some strategies to take you to the next level in this business.
Now, because we believe that success does not happen alone, it happens through mentorship, collaboration, and a whole lot of growth mindset. This is Mentor Mindset. Let's dive in.
Stacey, thanks for joining us today. Really excited to have you here. One of the longest tenured new recruits in our firm, coming up on 10 years. And what a journey it's been.
Unbelievable.
So for those that don't know, Stacey's been with our firm almost 10 years, has made Leaders Club on an annual basis, and last year made our company's President's Council, which is one of the highest levels that you can achieve, along with MDRT top of the table, which as the industry standard is the highest level that can be achieved. And I look back over the short period of time that we've worked together, kind of over the last 6-7 years, and what a journey it's been.
It's been incredible. And so you came down here in late 2018?
Yes.
And from Cleveland?
Yes.
And had been with Guardian and Park Avenue Securities for how long at that point?
Since 2011. So about 8 years, 7 to 8 years since that.
So you had some long tenure and you came down and you brought such a wealth of experience with you. And I really noticed that, when you came down, I was really eager to partner or learn from somebody who had that experience. And so we really kind of hit it off as friends and we really worked well together. And I think one of the reasons I've been so successful is a large part to, your mentorship and your ability to, my ability to prospect and find clients, and your ability to bring, your experiences and your knowledge into those meetings with me to really kind of help cultivate really what I've become and achieved.
Yeah. And I think that the goal, this has kind of come really full circle to the point of when we first sat down, it was having a relationship of you bringing a person in and us going out and getting the business, to now you being self-sufficient and going out and getting the people, you being able to get a bunch of business done on your own, and elevating your prospecting to even get to a higher level where in a perfect world from our leadership role, we can duplicate that. I don't know if we can do it every year or to the level that we've done it with you, but get people to the point of having these stages of progression of really climbing the ladder of production, getting to a point that you have. And I think that's one of the most exciting things that we've done in a very short period of time, is getting somebody from a relatively introductory level of the business to kind of the pinnacle. And now the next level of that is keeping you at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, it's been really exciting. I think what really helps somebody is being consistent. I really enjoy meeting new people. I mean, obviously my past life as a television news anchor, I enjoy people, their stories, like what brings them to the table and really learning about them. And I think that's the first part of any financial plan, and kind of helping the financial advisor, and then just learning along the way of, what makes a great financial plan, the continuing education I've had, the designations I've gone and gotten. But it's, if you're coming into this business or you're a newer advisor, you're trying to make your way, really do need to partner to some degree with somebody who brings the next level. So you're always stepping it up and kind of learning more and doing more and just being better for clients.
Yeah. And I think that's the hardest thing for new advisors to understand, is when you first come in, they're so eager to learn everything and not go talk to people until they're a master at any particular thing. I've done this for 15 years. I'm still not a master in the vast majority of the business. I'm really good at what I'm good at. And I'm learning stuff every single day, every single year. And if people wait until they fully understand how this works, they're going to be out of the business.
Well, there's just so many things that come under the umbrella of financial planning, or, retirement planning, or investments. And so there's no one advisor, no matter how great they are, that truly is a master across the board. So really what I find helpful is becoming a master at what you're really good at, bringing in other people who are good at what they do, and then creating this team for a client. And I've never had a client say to me, wait, you don't do everything yourself? I think it's better for the client. I think when we've worked together, we both had different strengths for that client. And sometimes clients gravitated towards you at different times during our working. because of what you provided, and sometimes it was towards me. And I think that they get just better accommodations in their plan from two people working together rather than one person giving one viewpoint.
And I think about it in a way that people can relate to that may or may not be in business. But think about the medical. If you've got to go and get your teeth checked and you go to the dentist and you say, I've got to run out of here because I've got an appointment with my podiatrist, and the dentist pulls the chair back and says, oh, I do that too.
Right.
You're probably not having them check your teeth or anything else on
Right.
your body. And in our business, it's so weird that people try to be this master in everything, in life insurance, in disability, in retirement. And people don't really want that. They want a specialist. Now, they want them probably to all be part of the same firm,
Correct.
but they want a person that's a point of contact that they can get a hold of on a regular basis. And then they want these specialists to come in and really do the planning in that particular area. And for our brand new hires, I think that the biggest thing that we could get them to take away is if you spend the first couple of years in this business almost thinking that you're a resident, wheel some bodies around, take a ton of notes, like treat it like an education. You're going to get paid a good amount of money if you're working, but really treat this like an extension of graduate and spend the next 2 years learning so that whenever you graduate, now you can go out and work with clients on your own and have a comfortability with a certain demographic of the client that you work the most with over the couple of years.
Yeah. No, it's really important that people who want to be in this business understand that you're always striving for the next level. You're always trying to learn more, do more. And Rome wasn't built in a day. I mean, I can't even believe I've been in this business now for almost 10 years. I mean, it went by in a flash.
Yeah.
I've learned so much, but the first couple of years, it's a grind. It's a grind to meet people, to feel comfortable. But I think when you surround yourself with good people who truly want to help you level up and get there and learn and be the best you can be, that's what's important, right? You shouldn't want to be at a firm, I think, that just says, here, go do it and do it by yourself and figure it out, because it's almost impossible.
It is. It's very hard, especially if you're newer in the business, to just come in and be self-sufficient. We're one of the very few places that I've seen where we highly encourage people coming to the office every day. That camaraderie and that energy, I think, sparks a ton of help and motivation with the new people and our experienced advisors. But in a world where everything is digital, even where we're running most of our meetings online, today there's 15 or 20 people in the office that are in their offices doing individual meetings, and we'll come together and we'll have lunch. Alliance Financial Group is committed to putting out the most relevant financial information in a timely manner for our viewers. If you're interested, or if you've ever been interested in joining a firm like ours, reach out to our team. We're always adding great people and would love to share the experience of our career path with you if it's something that you have interest in. Now back to the podcast.
Don't you think some of the most fun that we've had is because we work together in, it was the collaboration, not just for the client, but it was just fun to work with somebody else. And this business can be lonely too, if you just are kind of a lone wolf.
Yeah. I mean, the rewards are probably the same, but sharing in the rewards and the accomplishments that we've achieved together, watching kind of both of our situations change financially and with our families is something that I think is one of the best parts about this business. And really what drew me into leadership is my personal success is great. I think that I've checked a lot of the boxes that I want to in the world of production. I get the most joy out of watching people succeed that were not in a situation to do where they. And we've done that a lot. And I think that you are obviously kind of our highlight the banner story of achieving these massive things, but even people that wanted to get out of student loan debt, people that wanted to buy their first house or get a nicer car or move out of their parents' house and get an apartment. Little wins like that give people the confidence to go to the next level, and then making a 6-figure income and getting engaged or having their first kid. I mean, those are just huge accomplishments that if you think about many other professions in the course of a 3 or 5 year period, you're not quadrupling your income to achieve them.
I think what's really the coolest part is you really make an impact on people's lives, your clients' lives, right? I mean, it's a topic that everyone has to address, whether they make $40,000 or $4 million. It doesn't matter the dollars. Like clients out there need help because they're doing their life every day. They're working, they've got their family, and yet time ticks on and they still really need kind of planning or guidance or, help. And I think this is the business where you can really impact so many people in such a positive way. That's what gets me excited every day is because I feel like, we kind of have the secret of how do we help you get to the finish line and so that you can be as successful as possible for yourself. It's not a do-it-yourself kind of, thing. And I think being an advisor is really rewarding, really, it's a field that I never anticipated changing to. And I think it can be a really rewarding process.
Yeah. And with clients, I mean, you and I have experienced it a ton over the years, but people don't know what they don't know. So the more money people have, just their problems don't go away. Their problems just change. And there are a lot of really good things that have happened. We've dealt with clients that have retired early. We've dealt with clients that have decided to not have one of their spouses work, send their kids to private school, send their kids to college. And these are all different conversations that we navigate with people that when we first met them, were not even on the horizon. So growing with your clients and watching what they do and then being able to continue to help them and having that relationship from the very beginning, I think is really monumental. And we've had some crazy stories of astronomical growth in clients' incomes going from under $100,000 a year for somebody in their early 20s to now making multiple millions of dollars. And especially whenever we talk about the business owner space, these people are really growing. They think of their business or their income the way that it was when we first met them, but now they're dealing with serious tax situations, legacy planning, or other issues.
Or how to unwind their business, how to even get out of their business, how do they transition their business? Business owners in particular, I think, are very interesting because they put everything into their business and they forget, well, what does the other side look like? How do I unwind it in a way that I can still live this way?
Right. Yeah. And there's so many different things that individuals are dealing with that having a conversation with somebody like us, for us, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's very easy or common for us to approach anybody and start a conversation. We've done this for a long time. It's easy to go up and say, strike up a conversation, ask somebody about their business and find out some interesting details about them pretty early. For our advisors that are brand new, I think that's one of the intangibles that we see with a lot of our reps, the ones that are able to do that from an early, I don't want to say an early kind of place in their career are the ones that get off to the fastest success. The people that ask good questions and the people that are willing to talk to clients or potential clients are the ones that we can coach through all of the other stuff.
You can learn the other things. And I think that's the X factor we always talk about, right? In something, it's like what really will make a successful advisor. It's not just knowing all the calculators. It's truly understanding how to relate to somebody and how to talk to somebody. So if I was talking to somebody who wanted to come into this business, I would say, is that a comfort zone? If it's not a comfort zone, maybe this isn't the right business. Because you do have to have hard conversations. You do have to say things that aren't, not that they're not politically correct, but they're just difficult to say to somebody. But you have to be able to be truthful, about planning and question where they are and things. But I think that little piece is really monumental in how successful you can be.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing that the longer you're in the business, not that you're challenging the client, but you're bringing up points
real points
that they may not want to hear.
Right.
And especially in the world of saving or insurance, when we're talking to somebody that makes $500,000 a year and they're like, oh, I've got $1 million term policy. It's like, okay, so what does your family do in 2 years? Your spouse doesn't work and you have 2 kids under the age.
Or it terms out and you're now 65.
Right.
You're not dying before 65. You're dying 75, 85, right? I mean, real numbers.
Yeah. Or people that say stuff like, oh, I'm putting away up to the match in my 401k. And it's like, okay, well, that's great, but you're making $200,000 and you're putting away maybe $3,000 or $6,000. So the math has to make sense. And I think early on in the business, people are just excited to get somebody to say yes. But then going in and actually providing the value is where the client stays and where they want you to work with.
I would say that's probably one of my favorite parts is not challenging the client in a bad way, but really just being that devil's advocate, like, because we all do it. We all think life's very linear. I'm going to take A to B to C to D, and it's just not. I mean, it's never for any of us. So helping them navigate, okay, let's play this out. Like, what does it really look like if, and not being afraid to say that, right? I don't want someone to say, you told me everything was going to be okay. I need someone to be expecting the unexpected and to be okay in all those venues. That's when I feel like I've been successful. Not because I provided them, a rate of return X. It's how are they going to navigate when life threw them a lemon? Can they stay on course? That's far more successful to me than I got them some great rate of return in one investment.
And to some extent, I think that for us watching as advisors or having the conversation internally, we have to protect ourselves. Because if something happens to a client or the spouse of a client, and let's just say that the husband comes in, the wife is the one that passed away, and the wife was the one driving the conversations, and she was the one that was working and earning all of the money, and the husband comes in and says, you've been our advisor for the last 10 years. Where's all the life insurance? Where's all the money? And we don't really have anything to show for it. It's like, how did you guys work together for all this time and do all of these other things? And they're glaring holes inside of the plan. And I think it just exposes us if we don't have all of that stuff presented. And I think that that's one really good thing about our firm is I don't care what the client implements with us. We just need to help them with what they need help with.
And I think what I found is so many firms out there, when I talk to people in general and they say I have an advisor, their advisor hasn't given them any decumulation plan. It's literally just been accumulation. So it's just, I'm babysitting your money, we're getting money. And I'll say to them, well, that's great. What is the next step? Like, what's the next plan? I don't know.
Right.
Well, how are you going to match your income? Like, how are you going to recreate income? You retire at 67, you could live to 87. What's that without a paycheck? Have they talked to you about that? No. So to me, that's far more important than the bucket they amassed is how is the amassed bucket now going to pay them back in real dollars, in real life to make sure they can still live the same way. And that's a conversation that I find isn't happening that often.
Right. And especially now, kind of with the timeliness of where we are, market volatility, inflation, taxes. People look at their statement and they just look at the dollar amount that's in the statement, not what the true net dollars are in terms of, okay, what is the spending power in 20 years? What am I going to actually net if there are taxes taken on this IRA? Is it Roth money? People, shocking amount of very, very smart people don't even understand the classifications of their accounts and how they work. They go, oh, I have these 3 different accounts, but they don't know what the difference is.
I can't tell you how many times, Mike, I've said to somebody, I'll say, I max my 401k. Okay, do you do the Roth side or the traditional? Well, I don't know. I just do traditional. Do you have a Roth side? I don't think so. Well, go check, right? I mean, because that's massive. If you have the ability to do the Roth, do the Roth. And very smart people, like very successful people will say, I don't even know. So go back and ask HR, what can you do? I mean, some little tweaks like that are massive for clients.
Right. Yeah. Every stage of the game, everybody has different problems, whether it's coming out of school and figuring out how to pay off your student loans, whether it's buying your first house or car, navigating the interest rate environment, figuring out kind of what that next job looks like. Do the benefits match up with what you had before? I think that's one of the really cool things about what we do firm is that we have people at all of the different layers. So I don't know that you're going out and doing a ton of like 25-year-old new graduate clients anymore.
No, but I do get excited when I meet a young client because I feel like if I can show them the right behaviors early, then by the time they're my age, like they're in great shape just because they did the behaviors early.
Right.
So that's exciting, but you're right. That's not usually my clientele.
But there are clients that we have that have referred us to kids, nieces, nephews, now kids. And we've built a team under us of younger advisors where we say, hey, we want to make sure that we give your family the highest level of service. If we want to service you to the highest caliber, we have to give your kids or grandkids to somebody that's more kind of
their peer.
Yeah, more aligned with what they do. I mean, I joke around. We next to our building, there's a place that puts funny signs up and it says, I don't even understand what kids under 30 say anymore.
Right.
And I think that that's really true in this world of, I feel like I'm young, I'm not anymore. And I'm starting to see that as we're bringing these new waves of advisors in, there's a whole world of people that are going to make a ton of money that you and I just have nothing in common with. And we need to build up that bench of younger advisors to work with us, but to be having those conversations, because at some point these people will start to have money. They'll want to have deeper conversations with us, or they'll want an expert to come in. But for the very basic stuff, we're probably the last people that they want to see.
Yeah. I would say to you, like, as I look back, and I think sometimes I can't believe that I left TV and I'm doing this and I love this just as much as I did. I mean, I moved all around the country for that 25 years, and switching over into this career, I would just say to you that if I was talking to anybody out there who was even thinking about, can I do this? It's not something I thought I could do, but I also didn't think I would absolutely love it. And really, I get really excited. Every Monday I get really pumped up about, who am I going to get to talk to and how am I going to get to share what I know? And like I said, there's so many people who are way more advanced than I am, but I'm never fearful. I will find those people for my clients. I will bring them into the fold, and just knowing that I'm really impacting people's lives in the best possible way. And I always say to my clients, my job is to help them win. I don't know what that win is for them yet. That's what I have to figure out and then help them. But I think that if you're thinking about this career, or you're thinking about coming over to our firm, I always say we're the Amazon. Like, I'm not trying to fit someone in my box. I'm not trying to, make them fit me. I'm trying to fit into their world. I'm trying to show them there's so many more tools and opportunities that they haven't even been exposed to, because that's not, they ask their aunt or their cousin or their neighbor, and that's not what financials are about, because we're all in different spots and we all need different tools at different stages.
Right.
And yet if you ask your neighbor or your uncle, they're in a different place. They haven't shared their financials with you. So I would say to an advisor or someone who's thinking about becoming an advisor, it's such a rewarding, cool field that everyone needs. So like being a part of that is awesome and rewarding and fun, and people are fascinating, and they all come with their own, kind of, I would say, like, money baggage, right? They all come with their own perspectives, and just working with that. I'm never trying to change somebody. I'm trying to like be a part of where they come from in that respect, right? Like, they don't have to see my perspective. I have to understand theirs and kind of create a plan around it. And I think if an advisor wanted to do that and they didn't want to be in a wirehouse or a standard firm, like, the opportunities are massive at Guardian Park Avenue.
Yeah, I think we do a really good job, like you said, of meeting people where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, here's the mold and you have to fit in. It's, here are the decisions that you've made. Talk me through why you made them. Do you like the decisions you're making? And if you do, okay, perfect. Let's try to keep as many of those as we can and adjust to get you to the point that you're trying to achieve. We meet with some people that are just, they're not ready for us. They're addicted to lifestyle. They're not mature enough to kind of go through the process, and that's fine. And some people come back years later and say, hey, I'm ready. And then things have changed and they're really good clients, and other people don't. And sadly, if you look at the statistics, that's why there are very few people out there that are going to achieve their financial goals, because they're just doing it their own way. And it is a more complicated game than it has ever been before, with the amount of volatility, with the amount of products, with the amount of information that's overloaded to you, whether through social media or just through news in general. It's very, very hard if you go to work and you are very good at your job to now go and do my job for yourself.
Right.
So on the client side, I think that's something that there's really no risk in sitting down and understanding what we do. On the advisor side, somebody coming into this business, if you're new and you're coming out of school, you're not risking it. Like, you're taking your first job and you're taking a swing and saying, okay, I'm going to work in a sales-based organization and I'm going to try to make more than my peers. If you have a family and you're trying to come over the way that you did, it's a little bit bigger risk, but you're betting on yourself to do more than you did at your previous career. And most of the people that we've had have blown away their previous earnings. But I think that those people have committed far more to the business. The blessing and the curse of this is we get ultimate flexibility in our schedule. And over the last decade, I would argue that very few people in the firm have worked more hours than the two. But very few people have reaped the rewards that we have.
Well, I think you put in what you get out. I mean, right? I mean, it's not a part-time job. I love it. So I really do enjoy being at the office, and I do enjoy the people we work with. And I think there's a lot to be said, but I'm also just not afraid to ask anybody, right? I think that's the difference. New advisors, I would always say, everyone should be asked. Not everyone's going to say yes to meeting with us,
Right.
but ask. Like there's nothing wrong, because sometimes some of our small clients have become some of our largest clients
Right.
because we were there at the inception
Right.
and we grew with them. So I want somebody who, like when new advisors are like, who are you looking for? I'm looking for somebody who wants help more than anything, because it's not about the dollars they have, because small buckets become big buckets.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think new advisors are always looking at it differently. I think everybody deserves to be asked, do you want to be a part of this? Do you want to learn more? Like you said, they may come in and decide it's not for them or it's not their time,
Right.
but they were asked. And I think that everyone's money is important to them. And that's, I don't have minimums. Because I really believe, if someone's coachable and they really want help, then I'm willing to give them help.
Right.
There's certain things, there's certain parameters you have to have, but for the most part, I think advisors, if someone was new looking at this and saying, can I do that? It's everyone's got, really there's an opportunity, because everybody needs what we're doing. I mean, everyone's going to retire, whether forced or elected,
Right.
at some point.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a really good point, kind of with your minimums and kind of fee structure. We've met with countless clients who are just on the surface of starting to save money and trying to figure their life out. And they're like, I've met with people before, and in order to get going, they were going to charge me $5,000. And I'm like, so before you even save your first $5,000, you're committing $5,000 to learning how to save. And
it's just counterintuitive.
To me, it is. And I get that there are models that are based on that, but let's get the client to the point where they're saving money, they're investing money, they're gaining, and then we can talk about how if the first priority in this business is how we're going to make money,
It doesn't work.
it does not work.
And it's funny, I'll bring up a really quick, funny story. When I was coming over, my husband said, gosh, your job is so hard. And I go, well, it's kind of hard. And he goes, you're trying to get people to give you their money. And I said, what are you talking about? I'm trying to get people to have more money. And so it was just a mindset, the way he looked at it and the way I looked at it were completely different. And I think that's the public's perception sometimes, is I have to have a mass of money to come to you. And it's like, not necessarily. Like, my job is to help you figure out how to stop consuming everything today so that we can start electing for things for tomorrow.
Right. And I think it's funny, you and I, we've done this together for such a long period of time. The money aspect, which you'd think would be the hardest conversation, is probably one of the most transactional parts of our business. People will have $500,000, $1 million plus in an old IRA or in an account with another advisor, and that's the first thing that they're willing to give us.
Right.
When it comes to saving an extra $500 or $1,000 a month, they're freaking out. Oh, I'll give you this $1 million, but if I've got to save an extra $500, they start to freak out. Or we start talking about estate planning and saying, maybe we should get some insurance, look at some long care, and now the guards go up. And it's funny, just when we were just starting out and when these new advisors are starting and they're saying, okay, the asset management part of the business is the hard part. And we really know that it's the easiest, but to me, it's kind of easy come, easy go. We don't lose a ton of clients, but I know just as fast as people are making the decision to come to us, any lack of service or anything that we do that isn't up to the standard that they expect, we want it pretty easily. I think we can lose it pretty easily too.
But I think that also comes back to making sure you have a good relationship.
Absolutely.
And you're a good relationship manager, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I think my relationship is something I hold very dear with all my clients. Not saying they're all like my best friends. I'm just saying that I do care what's happening in their lives. I do keep track in my digital file about where they are, what's happening, because I want to be valuable to them in all aspects, not just because of the rate of return I'm getting them or the insurance they have for me, but really helping them navigate sometimes things that they don't know. Do I buy this house or do I buy this house? Does it make sense to pay my house off yet or not?
Right.
Sometimes that's that emotional feeling. Sometimes the math is not the math, it's the emotion of it.
Sure.
And so navigating that is really important.
Yeah. And I think just you've always done a really good job of keeping good notes and knowing about people's kids and knowing families and keeping up to date. Just touch points, just basic level touch points of, hey, how are you doing? Just wanted to check in. It's a crazy time right now economically. We're based in Southwest Florida. There's a huge amount that go to schools all over the country, all over the state. Obviously, there was a big event that happened at Florida State the other day. We have a ton of clients whose kids go there. We have a ton of interns that are coming from there. Just reaching out and saying, hey, how are you doing? Like, what's going on? goes a long way when other people are just kind of in the flow of their day, and then a week goes by and a month goes by. And like, it doesn't take a ton of time to send an email, to make a call, or just to reach out to people about something completely unrelated to business, but it goes a huge distance in building that.
So I would wrap this up in the respect that I would say to you, having a mentor in this business was so critical, right? I mean, being able to work side by side with somebody who is elevated from myself to learn from all the time. It's the everyday touch points that I think, even if you went to another firm, I would say to you, you really do need somebody who's going to kind of take you under their wing and guide you through it. And there'll be a time when you get kicked out of the nest or that you get pushed
Right.
out because you're ready. But you should look for that. I mean, you should really want that. I mean, I think I've done it with a couple people already, and I think it's valuable.
Yeah, and I think that that's really what we look for. Is there are some places that, depending on the size of the firm or the mentor that's working with them, they may kind of become codependent on the person bringing in business. And with us, are there revenue streams that could be lost because you're not doing all of the work anymore? Absolutely. But is that better for that person to keep all of the money because they're capable of doing it? Sure. The goal is we want to develop as many of you as we can and keep bringing people in and developing them, because one, our clients are getting the highest level of service. Two, we're getting a firm that everybody is doing the ethical thing, and everybody is making an abundance of money that nobody's worried about kind of the individual scenario. I tell my clients all the time, at this stage of the game, like, you and I, our families are fine.
We're fine.
Whatever decision the client makes is completely up to them. So if they tell us that they never want to talk to us again, it's okay. But if they want to work with us, we're investing our time into to put them in a situation that we've put ourselves in.
I always say that to my clients. If you want, I'm all in.
Right.
But if you don't want to do it, that's fine. But I'm also not going to tell you what you want to hear.
For sure.
Because I can't put my head down on the pillow at night if I've told you something that I don't feel is, and I'll never show my clients something that I wasn't willing to do myself.
Right.
And I think those are really important values to have. And that's my value proposition to people, I mean, I'm in. I'm your person for anything you need, but you have to give and take in those aspects.
Well, Stacey, I really appreciate you taking the time to being our initial guest on this podcast. I think it's a really cool way to start. You were the first person down in Florida that I mentored. You've reached kind of the highest level of success of all of our advisors so far. And I think a really cool way to kick this thing off.
It's been super fun, Mike. I love it.
I appreciate it. So thank you for tuning in today. Through our shorts and our podcasts, we present a lot of information. It's really hard to get across to all viewers exactly what we're trying to go through. And everybody's situation is different. If anything resonated with you from today's show or from what you saw, feel free to reach out to us via our website, www.afgfl.com.
This podcast is intended for general public use and is for informational purposes only. By providing this content, Park Avenue Securities, LLC, and our financial representatives are not undertaking to provide investment advice or make a recommendation for a specific individual or situation, or to otherwise act in a fiduciary capacity. This information should be relied upon only when coordinated with individual professional advice. $1 Million Roundtable is endorsed by but not affiliated with Guardian or its subsidiaries. Applicants must annually qualify for membership based on productivity and pay an annual fee. Stacey and Michael are registered representatives and financial advisors of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, PAS, OSJ 14021 Metropolis Ave, Fort Myers, Florida 33912-239-561-2900. Securities products and advisory services offered through PAS, member FINRA, SIPC, financial representatives of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, New York, NY. PAS is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Alliance Financial Group is not an affiliated or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. Stacey's AR insurance license 177718555. CA insurance license 4100687. Michael's CA insurance license 0M21715. AR insurance license 1583830. 7918622.1 expires 527.